officially.
Yeah,
It's been a while.
I know. Too many questions.
Too many answers, at least for me.
Um, yeah. So earlier today,
Mm-hmm.
you were telling me that you finally saw Batman vs Superman, and this is a heated topic that we talk about every day at work, especially with Justice League Dark coming out, and then Suicide Squad having that terrible launch.
Mm-hmm.
It's a common thing, so I want to know finally, what is your take?
Okay. So, first of all, I want to say it's not a bad movie. It's not a bad movie. I understand where Zack Snyder was trying to go with it.
All right.
All in all, it was decent. You know what I mean? I think Superman's portrayal was good. I think Wonder Woman was good.
Okay.
My biggest issue lies with Lex Luthor and Batman.
All right, but I can toss in three more.
Okay.
Alfred
Mm-hmm.
did not give off that Alfred aura. Don't get me wrong.
Not at all.
I love that actor. For those who don't know, he was the voice of Scar.
Mm-hmm.
Guy is great. He's in a lot of good movies.
Mm-hmm.
It's just he wasn't selling Alfred for me. I'm used to either the white hair or the balding older gentleman who took care of Bruce,
Mm-hmm.
raised him like a son.
Right.
He just didn't seem like that to me. We've discussed this many times before.
Mm-hmm.
He seems like someone Bruce grew up with and went to the bar with.
Drinking buddies.
Yes. Like they look
They look like
Identical.
identical in age. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially for this being an older version of Batman.
Yeah. If ever to have a very old Alfred,
Mm-hmm.
that was your chance.
Right. Right. Lex came off very Riddler-ish to me.
Yes.
It seemed out of character. He didn't seem like that suave businessman.
He really didn't seem DC to me. He seemed like a typical villain that you would see in modern movies, yes, but not a DC villain.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. It was a little bit over the top for me. The Lex Luthor. Like, there were moments where I can see the maniacal genius, and then there were other moments where I'm like, is this guy, like, for real? Is this it?
Yeah, and I know Snyder does a lot of he pulls from a lot of different sources, right? Like that's
Mhm.
how we got Batman being the way he is. That's how Superman is the way he is, and so on and so forth. I get the feeling that Lex is kind of a mix between traditional Lex, which is very little in there,
Mhm.
along with Lex's son, that was portrayed in one of the Crisis events, if I'm not mistaken.
Mhm.
He seems like more of the son
Right.
than actual Lex Luthor.
Right. Um, Ben Affleck. Okay.
Oh, before you go into Ben,
Uh-huh.
I also had a problem not with Superman, but with Clark Kent.
Yeah.
Clark Kent was just too. Batman is wrong.
Yeah.
We are right.
Especially because him and Batman are essentially the same.
Yeah, and not even just that. Like as Clark Kent, that's his duality. That's his secret identity. That's him pretending to be something, right?
Mm-hmm.
As a journalist, you can't be. This is the way it is. That's the way it is. Like you can't be so cut and dry. You cannot be biased towards anything.
Right.
And he was just Batman's a menace, and I'm gonna prove it. Like
Right.
he's not J. Jonah Jameson.
Definitely not.
So
But,
that's one of my gripes.
Yeah, his Clark Kent was a little bit annoying. Very emotional. And I get he's the human side.
Yeah.
He came off more like a bitch to me.
It
than
seemed
anything.
like there was Twilight in that movie.
Yeah, a little bit of sparkles when it rains.
Yeah.
But okay, Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
First, I'm gonna say this: Ben Affleck wasn't as terrible as I thought he was gonna be.
His acting wasn't bad.
I think The reason why his Batman was decent was because he was written that way.
And I have said that from the time I saw him in the movie, and everyone was going crazy, like, "Oh my God, did you see the fight scene?" And I'm like, "That's straight out of Arkham."
Yes.
Did you see the way he dodged the cops? And sorry for the spoilers on this. I should have said that before, but I'm diving in. The way he dodged the cops, I'm like, well, that's Batman Year One.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, there's a lot of fan service in there for people who read the comics, but that's not really fan service for people who read the comics.
Right. It's like, okay, first of all, somebody said to me, "Oh, there was a point when Batman used guns." No, there was a point where
There was, but it wasn't an official story.
Exactly.
Batman is not a killer.
He's not, and I'm
He's
talking about
completely
canon
against-
Batman.
Yeah. The only time he has killed, and it's canon, I believe, was when he was going to shoot Darkseid.
Yes, but when in the Flashpoint paradox,
Yes.
when Thomas Wayne
Thomas,
became Batman, yes,
the gloves were off.
the gloves were off. He used guns. He killed.
Yes.
Bruce Wayne does not believe. He despises guns.
Strictly
Guns
because his father
killed.
was a pacifist. Guns
Exactly.
killed his parents. It goes against everything he stands for.
So the Batwing had a machine gun on the front. The Batmobile
Yeah.
had Gatling guns on it. He was shooting people blatantly in his desert dream scene. Even okay, it's a dream sequence, fine. But then when he crashed into the building to save Martha,
Not even that. The car chase scene when he hit a man with the Batmobile.
yeah, he flipped the car that he was pulling behind him, and it blatantly landed on top of the other people. That's what messed it up for me because I'm a Batman fan, and it's out of character for him.
Yeah, and the only time, like, all right, you can reference back to, again, The Dark Knight Returns, that whole saga, but he was using rubber bullets.
Right.
I don't think you'd be shooting at Superman with rubber bullets, and he never changed anything on the gun. It was the same Gatling setup that he was using on regular people. So,
Like when I saw him standing on top of that crane in the dock, and he had a sniper rifle, I was like, "What the hell's going on here?"
again, completely out of context because that's from The Dark Knight Returns, and he used to shoot his grappling hook,
Right.
if I remember correctly, from the sniper rifle.
It was just weird, and I that bothered me the most out of everything. Not the actor, the character,
Yeah.
and how they portrayed the character threw me off, and it kind of it made things worse for me personally than it needed to be. If they had left all of that out and left him in character, right?
Yeah.
And I just watched the movie, all the other nonsense to the side,
Mhm.
I would have said, "All right, this is a decent movie."
Yeah.
But Batman killed it for me. They killed it. He was
That and then the weird joking at the end. Batman doesn't joke like that. He
No.
uses sarcastic asshole humor.
Yeah.
And sorry for my language, it's kind of late. But yeah, like
Yeah.
He doesn't. I mean, if you really want to see a meeting of the Justice League portrayed in a perfect light, watch Justice League War.
yes.
That's
Yes.
how Batman's humor is supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
That's
It's a
how
great movie,
him
by
and
the way.
Clark being against each other is supposed to be. Actually, watch Batman the Animated Adventures. There's a Batman versus Batman Superman crossover team up episode where they
Mhm.
combine the shows. That had a better Batman versus Superman than Batman versus Superman.
I will say, when they actually got down to the fighting, it put a little smirk on my face.
That 5 minutes, yes, it was great.
It was awesome.
It was great.
Superman,
Until-
that little 1 inch, little push he did, and Batman coming back and beating the shit out of him.
Yeah.
And then Superman was like, "No, no, no."
Even just the whole trap that he said was like, all right,
Yeah.
we'll fight. We'll
Yeah.
fight here.
Yes, and
And
that was good.
yeah,
That was good. And again, I didn't mind Affleck, whatever, as Batman. I really didn't. I don't think he's the best Batman, and I don't think he's the best Bruce Wayne.
I don't see him as a Bruce Wayne. I have that familiar flashback to Tobey Maguire, where I was like, I see him perfectly as Peter Parker. Don't see him as Spider-Man. I see Ben Affleck in the suit. His suit works for him. that's good.
Right.
I could see him playing the role of Batman in a Batman only feature, but to be Bruce Wayne, he just doesn't have that Schwab de vivre.
No, he didn't. He came off again a little bit too forced, I guess.
Most of the time, he looked like a bouncer at a nightclub.
Yeah, he was really top heavy.
Yeah. And I get it. Bruce is a big guy, but if you've ever watched any of the animated shows, seen any of the actual comic book art, Bruce Wayne in a suit looks like your typical millionaire playboy.
Yes.
Right? I work out because I can. Not I work out for justice. Right? Whereas you gotta wonder, like, Bruce, why are you so big? Martha. You know, like, it's just not.
Yeah.
It's not there.
Which everything up until that point kind of flowed kind of nice as far as the story goes in context.
Yeah.
Until that fight, and then he's standing over him with the spear. I'm gonna just call it the spear of Longinus from Evangelion because that's the only thing that kept popping up in my head.
Okay.
He's standing on him, and he's like, "I'm about to impale you with the spear of Longinus," and then Superman's like, "Save Martha." And he's like, what? Yeah, like a flashback.
It was his kryptonite. Which is funny because I don't remember, again, with any of the other material, him being that close to his mom.
He was more close to his dad.
He's more close to his dad.
Yeah, and it's almost as if they used that because they couldn't figure out any other way to have them say, let's squash this beef.
It was like they had that one job guy in the meeting, and they're like, "Oh, we have to figure out a way to like make these two see eye to eye." Well, it's come to my attention.
They're both their mom's name is Martha.
Mom's name from Martha.
But yeah, it's like, and then he's like, "Yeah, man, I promise you, I'll get your mother." And then at the end, spoiler alert, when Superman dies, and he's like, I failed him in life. And I'm like, you didn't even like him for 2 hours of the movie.
For like
you
10
didn't
minutes.
like him.
Like it didn't flow well together. And then the more upsetting part is finding out all of the backstory that directors, writers, everyone involved in the movies all confirm, yet has no sign whatsoever.
Side note, I think